Alright guys, I'm back here today with the 5th work in progress for the Gojulas, the HMM Gojulas of course. And today I've got a lot to show you, and I must say the Gojulas is really starting to take shape. And yeah, I can't wait to show it off. So here it is. This is what I have completed now on the Gojulas. As you can see, I've completed his tail and pretty much all of his main body there, and then you got the head, which looks real nice. Now, like before, there's still a couple places on here that still have a few missing pieces, mostly just like little pistons and things, little random stuff, and then a few little spots on the head where a few pieces are going to go that haven't been painted yet. But other than that, you know, this guy is almost fully done on the main body, and then I still need to put the caps on there, of course, but that's what we're going to get to in the kind of the second part of this video. So yeah, you can see the guy, the Gojulas here from the side, and then we'll take a look at it from the front. As you can see, we'll do some close-up views here. Still missing a couple pieces right there where you can see the little peg holes. And then the head. And I'm really happy with how this head turned out, to be honest. I just really am. It looks real nice, and I'm loving all of the metallics and all the color I got on this thing. And I'm really happy with the paint scheme too. You know, this purple and light purple paint scheme, in my own opinion, is really turning out great, and I've been really happy with it. You can see in the cockpit there too. Alright, so now that you've seen the Gojulas itself, let's go ahead and look at a few other things I was going to talk about. Now you see it's panel lined, and what I've been using to panel line is different than what I previously used. I've been using these Sakura Micron pins. Now this one's a brush, which we're going to get to here in just a second with the caps. But for the most part, I have been using, got to get the right ones here, these two. Now, you can tell what they are by the cap. If that focuses, that says 005. Let's try to get that to focus. There we go. As you can see. Now, what that means is it has a 1/2 millimeter tip on it. I mean, you can't even see that thing. Even if it was focused, you wouldn't see that tip. It's minuscule. And the other one I'm using is an 01, which is twice the size of the other one, but still very, very small. Alright, so they have been working very well. They're about $2.50, and I got mine at Michael's. I'm sure you can also get them at Hobby Lobby, places like that. They work very, very well, in all honesty. So, the caps. That's what I'm working on now, and that is these here. So you can see I painted them red. Now they're a little bit darker red than they're showing up in this video. I think it's the light, because I'm in a different place than I usually am when doing videos. They're showing up pretty bright red, but they're actually a dark, kind of ruddy brownish red kind of thing, if you know what I mean. But I'm painting them. As you can see, I have black in there, the chainmail, or this one is actually iron breaker, and then some copper, just to bring out a lot of detail on these. Now this is what I do when I paint caps, or any part here that you can see, that really, well, this is a bad example, because these kind of can be clipped on if you got small enough alligator clips, but the other caps, there's two different types, one with a peg in the center and the other one that's just hollow. Now on the ones that's just hollow, there was no way to clip it on an alligator clip without, you know, covering up part of the side and that not getting painted. So what I typically do with the caps, and I would do it regardless on these whether they can be clipped or not, is put them on a little piece of cardboard or cardstock paper with tape, and then just stick them there and paint them like that, 4 at a time, because there's 56 of these things and it can take quite a while, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I find that is the simplest way to paint the caps here. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to do some examples of painting caps, kind of like I did in the second work in progress of this, where I painted a part to the Gojulas itself. And my Gojulas just tipped over, but I saved it. I'm going to paint these caps. So if watching me paint isn't really your thing, feel free to tune out at this point of the video, because I'm not really going to show anything new per se. This is just going to be just a tutorial on painting, and you guys can see me paint if you like watching that kind of thing. Now I'm still using the same brush as I have before, the 10/0 Master's Touch round brush. Yet again, you can get these at Hobby Lobby, Michaels, anywhere like that. They're like $3. So, now what paints I'm going to be using is Iron Breaker here. Copper, already got the lid off, Copper Tester's Enamel. And then I'm going to be using this Sakura Micron brush pen. And you'll see why I'm using the brush pen whenever we get to that point. Now what I'm first going to do is the Iron Breaker. So shake that up. Open it up and you can see you got a lot of paint on the cap there. Now unlike the older Citadel paints, these actually haven't seemed to require any thinning at all. You know, you got to wash out your brush occasionally, of course, but other than that, on the old ones, I used to put a drop of water in there, mix it up. These new ones like Iron Breaker, Lead Belcher, things like that, really haven't seemed to require it much at all. So I'm hoping you guys are going to be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go in here and paint just these little portions in silver. There you go. Trying to get it at an angle where you guys can see it better. And this is one of those kind of things where even if you get the paint a little outside of the lines like I just did, because to be honest I need to turn it over so I can reach this little section, it's not a big deal. Because these paints, when they're first applied, are real easy to wipe off. So you just wipe it off, and there, it's gone. Let's see if that focuses. Sort of. And it really doesn't matter if you get it deep down in there. I know you can't wipe it off if you get it deep down in the hole, but we're going to be covering that in black, so that isn't a big deal either. Now, one thing I really think is just an important little time saver whenever you're painting is to do all the pieces you have with you in the one color you're doing. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and do all four of these, all the silver parts on all four of these while I have the silver out. It just saves time of doing silver, cleaning the brush, doing the copper, then cleaning the brush, and then doing my panel lining, and then getting back out the silver, and just one at a time. So it's a lot simpler and a lot more efficient just to do all of one color at one time. Now, this isn't my best painting in the world because I am doing this through the lens of a camera, so it's not going to be perfect, but I'm sure you all kind of get the point of it. I actually chose the red for the caps. I put a lot of thought into it, and I chose the red because, as some of you know, if you watched my, I think it was my first work in progress, I talked about it, I'm actually basing the color scheme off the high-grade Gojulas Gundam model that I painted in this same color scheme, and it's always been one of my favorite paint jobs that I've ever did, just because I love the colors together. And it has this same color of red on it. And I think it makes a really nice contrast with the purple on the Gojulas. So I decided, where am I going to put the red on this? You know, because I just wanted it as an accent. So I thought, where am I going to put the red? And I decided that the best idea for an accent would just be caps like this. You know, that's pretty much exactly what they are. They're accents to the Zoid itself. So instead of going through and finding specific armor parts to the Gundam, I am just doing the caps in it. and I think it'll look real nice. Alright, so I shook up the copper. With these enamel paints, you'll want to shake them up every so often, every couple minutes or so if the cap's open and you're constantly using it, because the enamel will separate from the thinner just enough that whenever you are painting, then it'll just get a little thin and liquidy and not the full color, you know. So let's go ahead and just put the little copper accents on these caps. As you probably saw in the ones that I showed you that were already completed, just have these 4 little spots in copper. And it really doesn't take much of these enamels to get a good drop on the parts here whenever you're doing spaces so small. You're not gonna have to get a whole bunch of the paint on your brush, because I dipped my brush in there just a little bit one time and I've already gotten through 3 of the 4 of these, and looks like I might make it through the 4th. Yep, there we go. So that is the copper after that's been applied. So I'm going to go ahead and clean out my brush, set that aside, and then we're going to get to this brush pen. Now it's exactly what it sounds like. Despite the fact this looks like a little tip there, it actually is a brush, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is, you can see all these little holes. I'm just going to go and I'm going to rub the brush right in the hole and just kind of around the hole a little bit. And I know you're probably thinking that's really messy, there's black all over the place, that looks horrible, but this ink is so thin that you can just wipe it right off. So as long as you don't wait, you know, 2 minutes or something to wipe off the black ink, then that comes right off and it just stays in those holes that I put it in. Now if you want to be a little more precise with it, I'm sure you can, but you know, I just kind of dab it there, wipe it down afterwards, looks perfect. Now we're going to fill in the interior here, which this may be a little harder to see on camera. But I'm just going to dab the brush in the center hole there, and then just dab it around the outside ring until it just kind of gets enough ink in there to fill it up. And there we have our black. And then I'll just continue to do the same things on all of these. Now you do want to be careful when you're wiping away the excess black ink here that the other parts of the piece, like the copper and the silver, aren't not necessarily still wet, because if they're still wet it'll be okay as long as you don't touch them. You just got to be careful not to, you know, press your finger or your thumb or something against them whenever you're wiping that away, because then you will have to redo those areas of the piece. There we go. And then on to our very last one. And this has been quite the monotonous task. I've been working on these things for 3 days now. Granted, if I just sat down and worked on them for a couple hours, it would get done, but I'm on a limited schedule at the moment. So, been working on these caps for quite some time. Just because, like I said, there's 56 of these guys, and got to get them all painted like this. because for some reason I wanted the caps to look all special and nice. So, that is how I get the caps painted. Just a little painting tutorial there. I know you guys have seen this kind of stuff from me before, but thought it never hurts to show it again. So, thanks for watching this work in progress, guys, and I will see you next time.